mean, that we'll be able to stay away. We don't have to camera in on that lane that much. They're just going to kind of be hugging for the first 5 minutes, possibly some lane cutting, both of them cutting all the way to base, doing their thing, you know. But as we creep into the end game, I will say Fried Chicken could have the advantage a bit. The only thing is, Chicken's been aggressive. The 2 games they won, he was able to take towers early on. And as long as JC can stalemate him, and again, not let you get all the way back to your inhibitors, gives Gosu a little bit of an advantage, because we've seen how well they do in that like mid-late to late game, right? Now, basic though on this Aerithil could be that answer to deal with General. It's been something that a lot of teams have been picking. Now with more picks coming in though, Fleur brings out the Eve and Yue locks in that Masha. So we're going to be seeing a roam Masha this time instead of the XP lane, but I definitely like it. Put pressure on the enemy early on.
And you know, I'm gonna just bring back some history here, right? You know, the Valley used to ban Masha non-stop because of the harassment that it puts on the team. You know, just being able to get in there. You've seen Masha last game just diving in on the base. You were not stopping that. Immortality was achieved. The base dive was achieved. And now we need to see what Mobazane does to respond to this. Do we see? Ooh, I like it. I was actually gonna, you know, I was thinking, you know, back to M3, we see a Saber.
Get crazy, get super spicy, you know. And Zane's been keeping it. He's been keeping it simple, man. Keeping it safe. He picks what does well. And you know, last time he wasn't able to get the win with Paquito, but he still played an amazing Paquito. At this point, like, I think he's just in a headspace like it's either Akai, Ballman, Paquito, maybe something else if we want to get really crazy. But unless you banned out all 3 of those, like, there's no reason for him to really switch up. It's more of like the gold lane and the EXP lane where you really kind of have to like worry about the rock paper scissors aspect and things like that. Zane though, on this Paquito, gonna be able to, he uses that heavy spin so well. He uses it like to its T, especially when it comes to Lords, especially when it comes to Turtles or trying to take towers. He's going to try to zone away 0 and take this. But we are now moving into game 4 of the Valley up against Gosu. The score right now is 2-1. Definitely a possibility for Gosu to bring this to a best of 5G.
Yeah, and you know, kind of setting the stage here. We're going into round 4. Well, just like T-Rex said, but what I want to see from the games now is that we are seeing Flare on the Eve, which is going to have a heavy presence, is going to maybe be countered by Mobazane a little bit, but Yue wants that engage. Now, the biggest thing that I am seeing from the side of Team Gosu is that they lack CC. I mean, they have a little bit of pop-up. They have a little bit of crowd control, you know, but they don't have like the solid hold. But, and you gotta say that again, the only person on the side of the Valley that has that is Mobazane. So I feel like that's gonna make and break team fights here, and I want to see what they can kind of do on this early stage. Yue is always showing that pressure, given the vision. I didn't suspect them to go down there. They're just, Masha's way too thick to deal with in this early game. But JC is, you know, kind of winning the lane a little bit in this early game, T-Rex.
I mean, the Esmeralda normally wins out in the first 4 levels, right? And that's not a big deal for Fried Chicken. Now, what I want to do is Shark's covering this top side, right? And I think in the beginning, Yue taking advantage of that, homing in onto Zane in his jungle. And as long as Shark keeps trying to babysit basic in these first few levels, Yue should continue to do that. But wait a second, Shark taking some damage. First blood going to Fleur. A nice little ambush there from the side of Team Gosu. Something you like to see if you're a Gosu fan right now.
You do. And to build off of how you were talking about the Diggy, right? The Diggy, the Ethereal does not do good on the early game against the Wan. So the Diggy giving a little bit of presence, a little bit of helping hand in that early game is what they needed. We are seeing the Lord go right now. Let's see if they can take it though.
Does come down. Shark uses that reverse time. I mean, the time journey. Hoon forced to use the black shoes. Yue trying to find something. Oh! Mobazane walks up, clicks Retry, and takes the turtle. Challenge accepted, and now Fleur could be in a bad spot. Isn't going to be able to get away. Super Shark picks up the kill.
Yeah, and now we're seeing Mobazane doing really good with the Retry now. And this is what I want to see from the Valley, is that now we're seeing that retribution come off, the secure. The Kai has the ability to zone out Zero and push him back. And then we've seen a really good play onto Fleur, takes out Fleur into the early game. And I feel like that is someone you really need to target. You really got to watch out for the Wan. We are already seeing this early jungle invade by Mobazane onto Zero. And this could smell trouble for Team Gosu as well.
Oh my god, and he takes the blue buff away from Zero. Once again, the Valley just creating this early pressure. And we're seeing it from Shark right now. We saw the reverse time right there. Zero tried to get his own buff and just got pulled away from it. And this is what I mean with Shark on this Diggy. It is a problem. It is a threat. He uses it to just such a manner that you don't see many players doing it. And it could be the possible downfall here. Not only that, Basic General at a standstill, and I gotta say, Basic could end up winning out in this lane on the top side. He has the kiting ability on the Seraphil. Zane now, though, coming in, looking for Fleur, uses the heavy spin. Fleur caught up once again, forced to use the flicker, trying to get away, but Hoon doesn't want to let it happen. Gloom comes down, and so does Fleur. Another pick for the side of the Valley.
See, this is what I'm gonna rebuild on to what I was saying. Like, there's nothing that can, stay in front and keep Fleur available. Like, they need some frontal lane presence. I mean, you're gonna have the Esmeralda and the Masha into the late game, but there's nothing to stop Mobazane from coming in and putting the Panda to the Fleur there, the heavy spin coming off, and it's the pressure. There's nothing they could have done right there because all they have is pop-ups. And I mean, it's gonna come down to that, and I feel like the team fights are gonna lean in the favor of the Valley, but I want to see what Team Gosu can respond with that. And if I had to make my predictions to do it, they need to stop Mobazane. He is right now all over the enemy side of the river and just constantly taking buffs. Look, secured the red buff. What's the response?
There just isn't one right now. I think once again, Team Gosu falling into more of that late game hope, that late game prayer that General can do something here. Even looking at the gold, wait a second, Shark taking a bit of damage, but he's gonna be able to go away. But looking at the items, looking at the gold, we have Zane already at a 500 gold lead, already has a cursed helmet on, and Zero hasn't even been able to get his first item in yet, and that is kind of the story for a lot of the team right now. Luckily, General has gotten in that Corrosion Scythe, skipped boots, already working on the next items, got a little bit of defense there for some sustainability to deal with Basic, but overall, the Valley already at a 2k gold lead at only 5.5 minutes. Will this be the end of Gosu?
I mean, we shall find out. They definitely don't want it. Their charisma should be high, since they just took that last game against the Valley. The only other team that I've ever seen to do that is Ackerman. So it's good to see that we have teams in NA that can put the pressure on such a Goliath, a dream team of the Valley. Going into this now, we are seeing what I like to see, and this is the babysitting we were seeing earlier. Now the map is a little bit opened up. Basic now has the ability to rotate out. Esmeralda now can rotate and maybe not have to, go and deal with the Uranus unless Chicken rotates as well, but the real world manipulation.
Shark does finally go down there, which is huge, right? I mean, it's helpful. They've alleviated a little bit of pressure. I don't think it's huge, actually, but we're finally seeing some answer. Fleur caught once again. This is the third time in a row, a little bit out of position. Zane able to make the play, and now Fried Chicken, he's at level 9. JC's at level 8, able to just start dominating in this boss side. Gosu is falling to pieces right now around the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, they are. But one thing that we have seen is Team Gosu knows how to extend the game and go the long way. But I'm a little thrown back by they just don't have. They're all peel. They're all peel, a little bit of pressure, a lot of mobility, and not enough control. And Chicken's just utilizing that to his fullest. Who's gonna stop Uranus? No one's gonna CC him. He's just gonna be roaming around like just a little unkillable Uranus.
It's definitely a problem. Fried Chicken's gonna be able to open up space. We've seen him on the Uranus before. It is pestering. It is annoying. It is a pain to try to deal with. He's 1-0-1 at 7.5 minutes, and that is going to be the one of the things that helps the Valley if this goes to the end game, right? That is going to be one of the things that helps them secure this possible victory over the side of Team Gosu. Team Gosu right now is trying to defend their towers, trying not to let those inhibitors get cracked before the Lord even comes up, trying that. So if they lose the Lord here, they can at least like defend it, right? They're not going to be cracked early on, but this is bad for Zero. Caught up by Zane again. He is hunting. He's picking them down, pinning them to walls, and taking them out. This is going to be bad for Gosu if they keep on getting picked off one by this now. Trying to defend. World Manipulation does come out. Yue locking on to Basic here. Basic does go. No, Basic able to get away. Gets the outplay. Yue goes down for that chase. Even with the World Manipulation, this is looking rougher and rougher for the Valley.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're seeing is Moba Zane has 0 deaths. Already level 12. He's looking good. He's going to be dealing a lot of damage, and that is not what you want. One thing that I have seen is that General's presence has been nowhere to be seen. You know, everybody just is able to avoid. We haven't seen a crossbow of Tang yet, and it's 9 minutes in. And that, I mean, that is just your utilizations on the side of Gosu that we just haven't seen, and it might come into play when we're pushing for a Lord here. And it's just all gonna come down to something like that.
I mean, General has finally locked in the DHS, so, and he hasn't really been able to rotate. Hopefully now, as we come into these 5v5s, we maybe see something from him. Malefic Roar also goes on to 0, so maybe a bit more damage onto the front line. They know there's no way they can contest that Lord, so it goes over to the side of the Valley. Just as some of these items lock in, Gosu may be able to respond a little bit. They need to be able to put some damage onto Chicken, put some damage onto Zane, and deal with that front line, because I don't think it's going to be easy to catch Basic, right? That's the thing about the Airthill. You can shoot, you can run, and you can just do them at the same exact time and constantly kite as they're chasing you down. So it is a hard target to take off as we move late into this. Lord is coming, G.
Yeah, with the Lord barreling down, it's not a Luminous Lord, so we're not going to be seeing it utilize the charge into the tower, but we're already seeing they're already to tier 3 inhibitors here. If they crack the base here, it's going to spell danger for Team Gosu, and it's just so much pressure. And I think it's going to come down to this, T-Rex.
Is coming out, a little bit of chip damage. JC onto the back of Basic. Basic going to be able to kite that though. Slowly get away. JC taking a bit of damage here. Yue looking for something. The tower does last. Able to melt that down fast enough, but the Valley does not stop yet. Another wave of minions is crashing, and with that, they should be able to take it. Manhoon takes the front line, pops the black shoes back to the back as Super Shark keeps on with that reverse time, being a nuisance to JC and Yue, being a nuisance to Zero, unable to make those moves. Basic working away onto Yue, now brought down to a second bar of health. General looking for weakness points, has not been able to pop that crossbow of Tang just yet. They make another tower last, but more minions are coming, and Zane this time is holding the front line, looking for a possible pick, looking for the dip, dive, dash, and spin, and he found General on the wall, taken out. Luckily, they do find Shark, though. A bit of a response. JC able to pick something up, but Fried Chicken holds down the front side. Minions on the base. Fleur uses the World Manipulation to try to keep them at bay. Zero locked onto Zane here, but brought too low from Basic. JC continuing to kite, continuing to try to leave this pressure from these minions. He knows if they get onto that base, that could be it. Zero back on the map, back with a full bar of health, looking for something, but Fried Chicken and Zane are just too tanky. Yue will not waste time with it, along with JC. More minions are coming, and Shark is back, hatched from the egg, ready to battle. Now, Crossbow of Tang does not get popped. JC General did have it, but he knows that's not the target. Minions continuing to crash. Yue goes down the Valley, taking out members of Gosu, even when they are under their base. JC will be next. Fried Chicken picks it up. Hoon gets the double, actually, and now it's 3 up against 5. This could be it. The Valley wants it here. Just to wrap it up, Zero goes down as well as Zane creates the space. They're on them. They're stuck under the fountain, and the base goes down. The Valley takes game 3, taking them to the second round and dropping Gosu to the losers bracket.
But it's not over yet, right? They're going to the losers bracket, and they have the ability to possibly come back now. Congrats to the Valley. such a great effort. And, it was a 3-1, insane. I was suspecting it to be, after we've seen the first 2 games, to be a 3-0, something like that. But it actually went a little bit farther than I suspected, T-Rex.
And every game was a good game. I cannot lie. It did not.